behind grandmother's house. My sister Sreypov stopped speaking after we found what was in the well. And even now, 3 years later, she only whispers. It was the dry season when we went back to our grandmother's village in Kampong Thom. Our parents had been too busy to visit for years. They ran a small electronics shop in Phnom Penh and couldn't afford to close it. But when grandmother called and said she was sick, really sick, my mother had no choice. You two go ahead, she told me and Sreypov. Your father and I will come next week when we can close the shop. Stay with Yeay and take care of her. We took the bus up, me and my little sister. I was 19, she was 15. The village looked smaller than I remembered, just a cluster of wooden houses on stilts, surrounded by rice paddies and palm trees. Grandmother's house was at the edge, near the old rubber plantation that nobody used anymore. Yeay was waiting for us on the porch. She looked ancient, shrunken in on herself, but her eyes were still sharp. Bunthoeun, my grandson, she said, pulling me into a hug that smelled like tiger balm and old fabric. Then to Sreypov, ah, little bird, so tall now. Inside, the house was exactly as I remembered, wooden floors worn smooth, ancestor shrine in the corner, the smell of rice and fish. But something felt different, wrong in a way I couldn't name. The well is broken, grandmother said after we'd eaten. Don't use it. There's a pump down the road now. Use that for water. What's wrong with the well? I asked. Just broken, don't go near it. But the way she said it made me think the problem wasn't mechanical. Sreypov caught my eye across the table. She'd heard it too. That night, I couldn't sleep. The village was too quiet after Phnom Penh, no traffic, no voices, just crickets and frogs and the wind in the palm trees. Around midnight, I heard Sreypov moving around downstairs. I got up and found her at the back window, looking out toward the yard. Can't sleep either, I asked. Look, she pointed. The well was maybe 20 meters from the house, just a concrete circle with a tin roof, surrounded by overgrown grass. In the moonlight, I could see something moving near it. A figure. Is that Yeay? Sreypov whispered. It was. Our grandmother in her sleeping sarong, standing by the well. Just standing there, not moving, staring down into it. What's she doing? I don't know. We watched for maybe 10 minutes. Grandmother didn't move. Finally, she turned and walked back to the house, slow and stiff. In the morning, I asked her about it. Don't be silly, she said, not meeting my eyes. I was sleeping all night, but Sreypov had seen it too. We both had. The next day, while grandmother napped, I went to examine the well. It looked normal enough, concrete walls about 1 meter high, a wooden cover that had rotted through in places. I peered through the gaps. Couldn't see the bottom, just darkness and the smell of stagnant water. Hello, I called down, just to hear the echo. The echo came back wrong. Not my voice exactly. Something else underneath it. I stepped back. suddenly cold despite the heat. Bong, Sreypov called from the house. Come inside. Why, just come. I went back. She was in grandmother's room, holding something, a photograph, old and faded. I found this in her drawer. I wasn't snooping. I was just looking for medicine, and the photograph showed grandmother as a young woman, maybe 20, standing with another woman about the same age. They had their arms around each other, smiling at the camera. But someone had scratched out the other woman's face. Deep gouges through the photo, obliterating her features. Who is that? Sreypov asked. I don't know. Why would Yeay scratch out her face like that? Before I could answer, grandmother appeared in the doorway. Her expression when she saw the photo was terrible, fear and anger, and something else. Guilt, maybe. Where did you find that? Her voice was sharp. I'm sorry, Yeay. I was just... She snatched the photo from Sreypov's hands. Don't go through my things. And don't, she stopped herself. Just don't. She walked away, clutching the photo. Sreypov looked at me with wide eyes. Something's wrong here, she said. I know. That night, we both stayed awake. Sure enough, around midnight, we heard grandmother moving downstairs. We watched from the window as she went to the well again. This time, she didn't just stand there. She was talking to it. We couldn't hear the words, but we could see her lips moving, her hands gesturing, like she was having a conversation with someone. Bong, I'm scared, Sreypov whispered. Me too. In the morning, grandmother looked exhausted. She barely touched her rice porridge. Her hands shook when she lifted the spoon. Yeay, I said carefully. Tell us about the well, please. We want to help. She was quiet for a long time. Then, you can't help. Nobody can help. Try us. She looked at both of us, and I saw tears in her eyes. You're too young to understand. We're not children anymore. No, she agreed. No, I suppose you're not. She set down her spoon. The woman in the photograph, her name was Bopha. She was my best friend. What happened to her? She died a long time ago, before your mother was even born. How did she die? Grandmother's hands clenched into fists. She drowned in the well. The air in the room went cold. It was an accident, grandmother continued, her voice flat. We were drawing water. She leaned over too far. The well was deep then, much deeper, full of water. She fell in, and you couldn't save her. I tried. I ran for help. But by the time the men came with ropes, she closed her eyes. It took them 3 hours to get her body out. Sreypov's hand found mine under the table. I'm sorry, Yeay, I said. That must have been horrible. You don't understand. She opened her eyes. It wasn't an accident. The words hung in the air. What do you mean? I asked, though part of me didn't want to know. We were fighting about a man, so stupid, so foolish. We both loved the same man, your grandfather, actually. Bopha loved him first, but he chose me. She was angry, said I stole him, said I betrayed her. Grandmother's voice cracked. That day at the well, she said terrible things. And I said terrible things back. I told her I didn't care about her anymore, that she should just disappear. Yeay. And then she leaned over the well, looking down at the water, and she said, maybe I should disappear then. Maybe everyone would be happier. And I said, she stopped, tears streaming down her face now. I said, maybe they would be. Sreypov gasped. I didn't mean it, grandmother said desperately. As soon as I said it, I wanted to take it back. But before I could, she just stepped forward, climbed onto the edge, and she looked at me with such sadness, and then she let go. She jumped. I tell myself she slipped, that she was just trying to scare me, and she lost her balance. But I saw her face. She meant to do it. And grandmother sobbed. I just stood there. For maybe 10 seconds, I just stood there, frozen. And then I ran for help. But those 10 seconds, maybe, if I'd acted faster, maybe. It's not your fault, I said, but the words felt hollow. Then why does she come back? Grandmother asked. Every night for 60 years, she comes back, standing at the well where she died, looking at me, blaming me. You see her? Sreypov's voice was tiny. Not at first. For the first 20 years, nothing. I got married, had children, lived my life. But I never forgot. How could I forget? Then your grandfather died, and that's when it started. I'd wake up and she'd be standing outside, at the well, every night. Did you tell anyone? Who would believe me? They'd think I was crazy. Maybe I am crazy. She looked at us with desperate eyes. But you saw me go to the well last night, didn't you? I'm not sleepwalking. I know I'm doing it. I go out there and I try to apologize. I try to explain. But she never answers. She just stares at me. Have you tried? I didn't know how to finish the sentence. Tried what? Exorcism, therapy. I've had monks come. They blessed the well, blessed the house. It helped for a few days, maybe a week. Then she came back. She always comes back. Why didn't you just fill in the well? Sreypov asked. I tried. Paid men to fill it with dirt, to cover it with concrete. But every night the covering cracks. The dirt sinks down, like something's pulling it down from inside. And she's still there. We sat in silence, trying to process this. Our grandmother, who'd always been so strong, so practical, haunted for 60 years by the ghost of her best friend. Let us see her, I said suddenly. No, ye were already involved. Let us help. You can't help, I told you. Maybe we can. Maybe she'll listen to us. We didn't do anything wrong. We're neutral. Grandmother looked at me for a long moment. Then she nodded, defeated. Tonight then, you'll see. The day crawled by. Sreypov and I walked to the village pump to get water, asked around about the old stories. The elder shopkeeper, a man who'd known grandmother since childhood, confirmed it all. Very sad story, he said. Bopha was a beautiful girl, happy, always laughing, until the end. People say she was heartbroken. And your grandmother, she changed after that, became more serious, harder. He shook his head. Such things happen. Young love causes suffering. We returned to find grandmother preparing offerings, incense, fruit, rice, like preparing for the ancestors. But these offerings were for someone who wouldn't stay at rest. Night fell, we waited. At midnight, grandmother stood up. "Come," she said, "but stay behind me. Don't approach the well." We followed her outside. The moon was nearly full, casting everything in silver light. As we got closer to the well, the temperature dropped. My breath came out in clouds. And then I saw her, a woman standing by the well. Young, maybe 20, wearing a traditional sampot and shirt that looked decades old. Her hair hung loose and wet, water dripping from it onto the ground. Her skin had a bluish tint, and her eyes were white, completely white, no pupils. Sreypov grabbed my arm, so hard it hurt. Grandmother approached slowly. "Bopha," she said, "I'm here again. I'm sorry. I'll always be sorry." The ghost didn't respond, just stared at grandmother with those terrible blank eyes. "These are my grandchildren," grandmother continued. "My family. I've had a good life, Bopha. Children, grandchildren. I married him, yes. We had 52 years together before he died. And every day I thought about you. Every single day. Still no response. What do you want from me?" Grandmother's voice broke. "I can't change what happened. I can't bring you back. I've said I'm sorry 1,000 times. What more can I do?" The ghost's mouth opened. Water poured out, black and thick. When she spoke, her voice sounded like it was coming from underwater. "You took everything. I know. You took him. You took the life I should have had. You took my future. I know. And now you've had everything. Husband, children, grandchildren, a full life, while I have nothing. Just this well, just this darkness, just this water in my lungs forever." Grandmother fell to her knees. "I'm sorry. Please, Bopha, please forgive me." "Forgive you?" The ghost laughed, and it was the sound of drowning. "Why should I forgive you? You're old now. You'll die soon. And when you do, I'll still be here, still trapped, still alone. Your death won't free me. Nothing will free me. Then what do you want?" I called out, surprising myself. The ghost's white eyes turned to me. "Who are you?" "Her grandson, Bunthoeun. This is my sister, Sreypov. Her blood." "Yes." The ghost drifted closer. Grandmother tried to stop her, but the ghost passed right through her, heading toward us. Sreypov whimpered but didn't run. The ghost stopped a few meters away, studying us. "You look like him," she said to me. "The grandfather, same face. I never met him. He died before I was born. Lucky man, he got to die. He got to escape." She tilted her head. "Do you know what it's like? Being dead but not dead. Stuck in the moment of your death forever." "No, it's like drowning over and over. Every moment. The water fills my lungs, and I can't breathe, and I claw at the well walls, but they're too slippery, and I'm too deep, and nobody comes, and I die, and I die, and I die." over and over. Forever. That's horrible, Sreypov whispered. I'm so sorry. The ghost looked at her. Sorry doesn't help. Sorry doesn't change anything. Then what would change it? I asked. Nothing. That's what your grandmother doesn't understand. There's nothing to be done. This is my existence now. And the only thing that makes it bearable is watching her suffer. Knowing she feels guilty. Knowing she can't escape me, even though she escaped everything else. So you just want revenge. I want her to hurt like I hurt. To feel trapped like I'm trapped. And she does. Every night she comes out here and apologizes, and I feel a little better. Not much, but a little. That's not enough, I said. No, but it's all I have. What if we found your body? Sreypov asked suddenly. Your real body. What if we gave you a proper funeral, proper rites? The ghost went still. My body is at the bottom of the well. Still, they took me out 60 years ago. But some part of me is still down there. I can feel it. Bones, maybe. Or just essence. I don't know. But I'm bound to this place. I can't leave. What if we drained the well? I suggested. Went down there and cleaned it out. Made sure nothing of you remains. The ghost drifted closer to me. So close I could smell the stagnant water, see the droplets sliding down her blue skin. You do that for someone you never met. You're suffering. It's not right. Why do you care? Because my grandmother cares. And because nobody deserves to suffer forever. Not even for revenge. The ghost stared at me with those white eyes. Then she turned to grandmother, still kneeling on the ground. Is this real? She asked. Are they really your family? Yes, grandmother said. They're good children. Better than I was. I was good too once. The ghost's voice was sad now. Before he broke my heart, before you betrayed me, I was good. You were, grandmother said. You were the best of us. For a moment, something shifted in the ghost's expression. Something almost human. Then it was gone, replaced by that blank, terrible stare. Drain the well, she said. Find what remains. Maybe then I can rest, maybe. What if it doesn't work? I asked. Then I'll still be here. And so will she. And we'll continue our dance until she dies, and her ghost joins me in the dark. With that, she faded. Not disappeared, just faded, becoming translucent, then gone. The temperature immediately rose back to normal. Grandmother collapsed forward, catching herself with her hands. She was crying. Thank you, she gasped. Thank you for trying. We helped her back to the house. She went straight to bed, exhausted. Sreypov and I sat up, planning. How do you drain a well? She asked. I have no idea, but we'll figure it out. In the morning, I called my father. Explained that grandmother's well needed to be drained and cleaned, didn't mention the ghost part. He knew a man in the village who had pumping equipment. It took 3 days to arrange, but finally the man came with his pumps and hoses. The water was thick and black when it started coming up. Smelled terrible rot and death and time. It took hours to drain fully. When it was finally empty, the man set up a ladder and I climbed down. The well was deeper than I expected, maybe 10 meters. The bottom was covered in black mud and debris. I had a flashlight and a bucket. Sreypov and the pump man watched from above. I started digging through the mud, looking for anything that might be bones or remains. Found old tools, bits of pottery, algae-covered stones. Then my hand hit something different. A skull. I pulled it out carefully. Human, definitely human. Small, probably female. The jaw was broken. Found something, I called up. I kept digging. More bones. Ribs, vertebrae, a femur. All jumbled together in the mud. 60 years down here, dissolved by water and time. There's more, I said. It took me 2 hours to collect everything. Piece by piece, I filled the bucket and Sreypov pulled it up. By the end, we had most of a skeleton not complete. Some pieces were too degraded or lost, but enough. When I climbed back up, grandmother was there. She'd come out to watch. Her face was pale. "Bopha," she whispered, looking at the bones. We wrapped them carefully in cloth. That evening, we took them to the village pagoda. The monks performed a proper funeral ceremony, chanting sutras, burning incense, blessing the remains. Grandmother paid for everything, insisted on the best. She should have had this 60 years ago, she said. The monks cremated the bones, according to Buddhist tradition. The ashes went into a small urn, which grandmother placed in her home shrine next to the photos of her husband and parents. She was family too, grandmother explained. Closer than family once. That night, we all stayed awake waiting. Midnight came. Grandmother went outside. We followed. The well was empty now, clean. Just a concrete tube going down into darkness. No water, no mud, no bones. Just empty space. We waited. Nothing. No ghost. No cold. No woman with white eyes and waterlogged skin. Just a quiet night in a village, with crickets and frogs and wind in the palm trees. Grandmother started crying. But this time they were different tears. Relief, maybe, or grief finally allowed to be grief instead of guilt. "She's gone," Sreypov whispered. "Yes," I said. We stood there until dawn, grandmother between us, her hands in ours. When the sun came up, she smiled, really smiled, for the first time since we'd arrived. "Thank you," she said. "My good grandchildren, thank you." We filled in the well the next day. Properly this time with concrete and stones. Made sure nothing could ever live or die down there again. Then we planted a frangipani tree on top. White flowers for funerals and remembrance. My parents arrived 2 days later. Grandmother looked 10 years younger, like a weight had been lifted. She didn't explain why, and they didn't ask. Just assumed she was happy to have family around. But Sreypov and I knew. That was 3 years ago. Grandmother died last year peacefully, in her sleep. At her funeral, I noticed she'd left instructions. She wanted to be cremated and her ashes mixed with Bopha's. Wanted them scattered together in the rice fields where they used to play as children. We did as she asked, and sometimes, when I visit the village now, I walk by the frangipani tree where the well used to be. The tree is healthy, growing strong, covered in fragrant white blooms. And I think about two young women who loved the same man, whose friendship was destroyed by jealousy and pride and cruel words spoken in anger. I think about how one of them died too young and the other lived too long with guilt, and how they both got trapped, one in a well, one in regret, until finally someone helped them both find peace. Sreypov still doesn't like to talk about it. She says thinking about the ghost's white eyes gives her nightmares. But she tends the frangipani tree when she visits, brings offerings of fruit and rice. Not for the ghost. There is no ghost anymore. Just for the memory of two girls who deserved better than they got. And for the reminder that words can kill just as surely as water in the lungs, and that sometimes being kind to the dead is the most important kindness of all.